What's the first mistake men make when talking to women?
So, mistake number one is seeking validation, right? This is a misunderstood concept. It's something that's very popularly said on the internet. And oftentimes guys will take that and go all the way the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But fundamentally, the seeking validation issue doesn't have to do with not texting a woman back or pretending that you're busier than you are or not approaching women, which is, another crazy thing. It's the seeking validation issue comes from within the man. So the seeking validation is as I approach the woman, as I'm engaging with the woman, I have a low self-estimate of myself. However, I believe that if this beautiful woman were to laugh, were to text me back, were to smile, were to go out with me, were to have sex with me, were to kiss me in public, were to hold my hand, were to date me, if she would be receptive to me fundamentally, then at that point I'd have the evidence to suggest that I'm him. So it's a different way. Sometimes guys do this with money. If I have enough money, then I'm him. If I have enough followers on a particular platform, if everybody feels like I'm a good, I look great or my style is on point, there are different ways to have the environment react to you in a certain way so you can know who you are. And so if nobody's reacting, then I'm nobody. If nobody's reacting, then I'm nobody. So, and I had this challenge, back in the day as well, where in every room I'd go, I need the positive reaction of attractive women to reinforce my self-image of I'm that guy, right? But that creates a relationship where you're authentic and a puppet to the reaction of the woman, which turns her off because she'll never know who you are. She'll only know the reaction you are to her. She'll never know who you are. She'll only know the reaction. So it's the validation seeking mistake is repulsive. It is weak. It is an identityless position. Because fundamentally what the guy is saying is, if you don't respond to me positively, I can't respond to me positively.
Right. So why doesn't that work?
Well, you have to know what a woman is looking for. What's the point of a woman being with a man? Like, why would she be receptive? Right? When a woman is engaging in a conversation, because that's really the only way a person can get to know another person. There are two ways. What you say and what you do. Right. How can I get the invisibleness, the spirit within me to be known to you? Right. What does it mean to get to know someone? It's watching what they do and watching what they say. Those are the two mediums. So a woman being approached by a man, she wants a man. She wants a man where she feels amazing in his presence and ideally has all the things that she thinks she wants in her head. Right. And so in her world, she gets approached 9 times out of 10, if not 99.999 times. She's going to be the approachee.
Right.
And so in her world, she doesn't know. She knows what she might want in her head, but she doesn't know who's going to approach her and then who approaches her, that she doesn't know if who they present themselves to be is actually who they are.
Right.
So how can she gauge if the man in front of her is the man that actually meets the requirements of the man she wants? Right? What makes her open up? Right? Literally and figuratively to him. Right? So when you think about that and you take into consideration the woman's point of view and what her value system is, then you go, well, what would she be looking for? Well, fundamentally what she's looking for is someone whose world she can enter. Why is she entering his world and he's not entering in hers? Well, because women have something called the expectation of dependency. Women only pair with men who improve their lives. And so the dependency aspect means she does not want to enter a man's life who will make it harder for her.
Right.
She likes to pair herself with men that make life better.
Right.
And if she's going to pair herself with men that make life better, then he has to have more of something than she has.
Mm-hmm.
It could be knowledge. It could be emotional stability. It could be money. But this is why women, a popular term is are hypergamous, and that's a whole different conversation. But for her, how men are perceived, how pairing with a man is perceived is based upon how can he make my life better. So if that's the case, then she's a dependent of his because she has to come into his world.
Right.
And then he's going to assist her with things. Now, she assists him as well. But the expectation of dependency is that, which really more rudimentarily comes from the fact that if she gets pregnant, she's quite literally dependent upon him historically, biologically,
Right.
to ensure her and the baby are good because she's in a very vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
So just the way women think of men is, I have to be able to depend on him and ensure that he keep me safe and protected and provided for.
Right.
And so when she's selecting, if the man is seeking her validation, then he's seeking her leadership.
Mm.
Right. He's seeking her to tell him who he is.
Right.
By her smile, by her sex, by her being on his arm. And so he doesn't know who he is until she does something,
Mm-hmm.
which means who's the one fundamentally running the game? Her.
Right.
So she's not getting someone that makes life easier. She's getting somebody who needs her to make his life easier by loving and liking him.
Right. And so what works instead? Like, what would be a better way of going?
So the man must always know who he is before he goes on. That's like a cliche thing.
Mm-hmm.
What does it actually mean? It means in both his lights and darks, right? In both his light and dark, meaning the flaws and strengths of him,
Mm-hmm.
because all men have flaws and all men have strengths.
Right.
In the awareness of his flaws and strengths that he will discover by moving in alignment with the things he wants out of life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that may involve a woman. And you may approach women and you learn that, over time, maybe I should brush my teeth. Maybe I should work alone. Maybe I could better style. Maybe I should cut my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll learn because the game is dual. Like, it's not just about who you think you should be and the woman doesn't matter. And it's not about just who a woman thinks she should be and the man doesn't matter. You got to meet each other in the middle. You, as a man, will adapt in ways that are just in general attractive to most women.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you're also going to remain authentic to yourself.
Right.
So that's the core thing. You have to first know who you are and accept who you are. And then in that, as you go meet the woman, you're seeking alignment, not acceptance. Mm-hmm. So instead of the validation problem comes from a guy going over there and saying, I'm nothing, please accept me. Instead, he goes in there knowing this is what I am currently, because he'll become more if he chooses to. This is what I lack currently, but can fix that if he chooses to. However, I'm presenting to you the man that I am in this moment and giving that woman the opportunity to determine whether or not she's in alignment, rather than going over there seeking to turn yourself and change yourself into whatever you think she'll want
Right.
in order to accept you.
Okay, so why does that work?
So it's going to go back to what we talked about earlier about what's in it for the woman,
Right.
right? The woman is paying attention to the man's present and then his trajectory.
Right.
His present and his trajectory.
Right.
So some women, if they're only looking to use a man for his lifestyle, will pay attention to his present.
Mm-hmm.
If the woman is looking for the man to pair with and build with, she'll pay attention to his trajectory, right? So that'll be the first part. And if a man's focus is so much on getting the acceptance of a woman, then he'll only care about what he's like in the present moment, because he's only focused on, does she like me, does she not like me? And if she doesn't like me, and if multiple women that I like don't like me, then that's all I'll ever be, rather than let me pay attention to the growth that I'm having, the lessons I'm taking as I'm moving towards the things that I desire. And if those things that I desire is approaching women, if those are things that I desire is getting in better shape, those things are getting more money, those things are things he values because of the man that he is. And on his journey towards the vision, he seeks women that are in alignment. I've said this before. If you're a man going north, you must first know that. And then as you meet women along the way, you only align and invite women who are northern women if you're planning to stay with them. If it's a short-term exchange, a little fun here and there, it's not as important. But you want to align with northern women if you're going north. If you're a Western man, you align with Western women. But if you're a Western man and you try to meet an Eastern woman, she's going to be wanting to go one direction and you're going to be wanting to go to one direction. And so coming back to the seeking validation, if you're a man that prioritizes her validating you with her affection over your vision, then you're going to start compromising yourself and starting to try to go east, or you're going to try to convince her to go west. And over time, it'll create tension in the relationship. And if she breaks up with you and leaves you, then you're in a situation where you didn't go as far west as you could have gone because you were using all the time trying to convince her to come west, or you were going east when you should have been going full speed towards your vision. And this is very common, if the affection of the woman is greater than the vision of the man, meaning his desire, the prioritization of the affection of beautiful women supersedes the vision of the man, then it will always, always, without exception, crumble. Because at a certain point, the woman is going to wake up and say, I feel like I have a son, not a man,
Right.
not a leader. And either another man will come in the picture that knows how to lead and she's going to hop right along. This is very common. Or she's going to leave him and then just go find the alternative, which is honestly what's happening in a lot of marriages today. Right. But that's a whole other complicated situation.
What's the second mistake men make when talking to women?
I'd say mistake number 2 is being too serious. This is something that I noticed quite a few of my clients struggle with. And it doesn't mean that you should be a clown, which we'll go to the next one. But it also doesn't mean that everything needs to feel like a boardroom conversation or a therapy session. Right. And so oftentimes, because of the guy is overly concerned about how she's seeing him and less about what she is like in meeting the woman, his attention is focused upon, how did that sound? Am I saying the right thing? Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? All of it is on, how do I look? How do I sound? It's called self-consciousness. It's the definition. You're conscious of oneself only, right? And so the attention is not focused on the intrigue that you may have in learning about the other person. Frankly, it's not even about sharing anything with the other person. It's more about going to mistake number 1, ensuring that they think you're cool, awesome, pretty, handsome, likable. It's all about the validation you receive from them getting a positive or giving you the kind of the thumbs up of, yeah, hey, you're cool, you're interesting. And it's like, okay, yes, I got that. Whew, right? And so this creates internal conflict because you almost can't be playful because you're too concerned about what the reaction may be if it doesn't land. So you're living in the negative expectation of, what if they don't like me? What if they don't like me? What if they think I'm weird? What if they think I'm good? What if I'm... and almost none of the attention is on the actual engagement. Almost none of the attention is on the actual conversation, because you have to be relaxed within yourself and grounded within yourself first, and then transmit that state of being, that comfort. It's not the seriousness, the comfort, and extend that state to the person you're conversing with. And so often guys don't mean to be serious, they just can't access the part of them that would laugh.
Right.
And laughter is something that is selfless. It is something that shares. Whereas when the too serious label comes up, is very rarely because the person could laugh and chooses not to. It's more accurate to say they can't find the humor because they're too concerned about being embarrassed or coming off as unlikable. Or if they do laugh, it's this nervous laugh.
Right. So, why doesn't that work?
Well, going back to what's in it for the woman, if she intends to come into your world and sample the experience of how she'll feel within your presence, you're giving her a sample of your range of conversation. Right? And your range of conversation is also the range of her emotions. Right? The range of your conversation is the range of her emotions. So, if all she'll ever get with you is serious, inflexible laughter is not accepted in this environment style of speech, doesn't mean that she may dislike you, but she may have a challenging time craving to be in your presence outside of a very specific context.
Right.
And she may have an even harder time to have any sexual attraction to you. Right? Because you're overly serious, boring, dry, right? And everything is heavy.
Yeah.
And people value that space. You need to have that range. Everything can't be a joke either. And we'll touch with that with the third mistake. But at the same time, your level of seriousness can't be an expression of your internal fear or your internal need for validation manifesting itself in you being too serious.
Right. And so what works instead?
What works instead is to first let go of the need to control the reaction of the other person. Right? So if you find something funny and you're not sure if the other person will find it funny, it's irrelevant. Right? Because the point of the joke and the point of humor and how humor actually works is you share what's funny, you share the state of amusement, and you express it. And if the person receives it, they receive it. If they don't receive it, they don't receive it. A stand-up comedian doesn't go on the stage to make people laugh. He goes on the stage amused and then shares that with the audience. Right? That's why he can go on the stage and bomb. It's not bombing because it's, put it this way, when he had the joke initially, it's not as if the joke wasn't funny to him.
It was funny to him, and that's why he breaking it.
But it wasn't it didn't land the right way. Maybe the delivery was off.
Right.
Maybe he was trying to get people to laugh a bit too hard and that threw it off.
Right.
But if you watch any comedian and then take the sound off, you'll actually notice that very little of their facial expression is seeking a reaction from the crowd.
Right.
It's, I'm going to show up. This shit was funny as hell to me. I'm going to share it. Fuck you guys if you don't laugh.
Right.
That's the energy. And so it gives the audience, the crowd, the freedom to decide whether or not they're going to laugh, because they're not constrained by the person's lack of confidence and their need for them to react in a very particular way.
Right.
So it's this balance of, I'm going to share it. You may not be receptive. That's okay. Still love me. Still thought it was funny. Unapologetically.
Okay, so you kind of already touched on this, but why does it work? Why does that work?
Because fundamentally, everything in reality is about balance. Yeah, nothing to an extreme survives. So if you're too serious, too clowny, both are in the extremes and both are unsustainable. And so human beings have this natural dance and desire for two things: them for never lose access to their freedom, but also want to feel connected. If you think about connections, right? Connections imply that you're kind of bounded to someone.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want to feel like you're being forced to. We want connections, but we want to choose the connection. And when we share humor, it's sharing emotions. That's what humor is. It's not necessarily even sharing the words, right? Because I can deliver the same words, right? I could say, knock, knock, who's there? You know, Papa's home, right? You just laugh,
What?
right? You just laughed. What did I just say? It doesn't matter what I just said.
Right.
My point.
Right.
Now I delivered it like that because I knew you wouldn't know what's coming.
I know. I'm like.
Right. And it didn't matter
Right.
because you could tell I was tickled by it. But if I said to somebody, "Oh, I'm going to use the Papa's home thing,"
Oh, heck.
right? You instinctively know. No, it's not about the words.
Right.
Right. It's about the subcommunication before the words and while the words are being delivered. So, yeah, that's the why it works is more that balance piece, and we're sharing emotions naturally. And so if the emotion you're sharing is humor is not allowed, laughter and joy and any level of happiness is not allowed around here within yourself, because you're so worried about their reaction that you can't allow any happiness to come in within yourself until they laugh.
Right.
So you're waiting for them to laugh for you to feel joy, but they're waiting for you to feel joy so they can laugh.
What is the third mistake men make when talking to women?
I kind of hinted at this at the last one, but being too playful, right? So we talked about being too serious before, now we're talking about being too playful. And it's funny because I had a client that had both problems. Initially, he couldn't access the playful side of him, and so when he'd interact with women, his conversations were very, I'm like, oh my God, this is how you text, this is how you converse? No wonder you're getting the reactions you're getting, right?
Right.
And so we did some inner work, we did some external work, and so he got access to the aspect of him that could joke. However, interesting imbalance occurred because he remembered how it was to be overly serious. And so many stories are coming to mind, but for the sake of brevity, I won't share them. And so he started learning how to make women laugh by sharing the humor within himself.
Right.
But the problem then became he didn't know how to stop because he was now afraid the serious side would come back.
Right.
Meaning, it's like, oh shoot, this is great, right? Like she's laughing, and this is not how it usually goes.
Right.
And so he's like, okay, smile means good. Don't want that to stop. So it's,
yeah.
And then if it was through texting or it was in person, the heightened state of the woman was just a reverse version of like, oh, keep validating me.
Right. Yeah, dang.
I'm not used to this. Keep laughing, and so he became a clown. So he went from too serious to a clown. And so we had to rebalance it. I was like, well, you're hanging on to these jokes for dear life because you're afraid that if you stop trying to make her laugh, she'll realize she doesn't want you.
Right.
So you're trying to laugh your way into the panties, or you're trying to, which is, he'll know when he sees this. I was saying, you're acting like an unattractive man trying to attract an attractive woman by making her forget that she's not attracted to you.
Dang.
When the game is you're two attractive people meeting each other. Now, not because you're attractive means she's attracted or you're right for each other, but you can't be going into the interaction assuming you're already unattractive and you're trying to trick this attractive woman into being attracted to you. That's how most guys go about things.
Right.
Right. Unless it's a select few who've had several, I won't even go into that. But yeah, the proper disposition is to realize you're already attractive if you've done the necessary work.
Okay, so why doesn't that work?
Because of the same balance principle that I talked about earlier.
Right.
A relationship exists outside, or I should say, the bulk of a relationship doesn't just exist within the things you find funny.
Mm.
Like if you're going to move through life together, there's more to life than laughing,
Right.
right? And so, and also, funnily enough, it also depends on the type of laughter, right? There are styles of humor that create erotic resonance, which is the sexual attraction, that polarity between men and women.
Yeah.
And then there are those that are, it's called goofy, or a goofier skill that may make you laugh, but don't trigger sexual arousal.
Right. Yeah. I feel like everybody know that one funny dude that they'll never
Never,
have sex with.
right, never, right? But they'll laugh all day.
Exactly.
Right. And so, funnily enough, in large part it's because they know he's trying to make them laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is, that's what a clown is. I came to make you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than sharing the joy and laughter within himself with everybody around.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I often get, as you know, if people were to describe me in real life, I usually get serious.
Yes.
But when they're actually around me, even people who've known me for decades, or actually decades, the primary way they think of my face is probably like, oh, yeah, but all no nonsense, right?
Right.
But if I were to film them for an hour, about 50% to minimum of the conversation, they're laughing.
For sure.
And it's so much so the case that I didn't even realize that was the case.
Right.
Because when I'm sharing humor, it's not that I'm trying to make people laugh. I just don't want to be bored.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say something that I find amusing. And my style of humor is very teasy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And very sarcastic and troll-like. So because of that, there'll always be like a, whenever I greet a friend of mine that I see, I must never use their actual name. So let's say I have a friend named Fred,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instinctively, when I greet them, isn't something I'm like pointing out in real time?
Yeah.
I didn't even conceptualize this until this moment. If I had a friend named Fred, the first thing that came to mind when I see him is like my boy Douglas, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would never call him his name.
Yeah.
That's how you know. Shout outs to One Piece fans. That's how you know if I rock with you. If I call you your name, then it ain't that.
Right.
But if I'm like, I'm almost never gonna call you your name. It's gonna be some troll-like thing that I find funny.
Right.
So I say that to say, that's a style of humor that is gradually inserted here and there that doesn't decrease if I'm with a woman's sexual polarity. It's a tease, right? Whereas a clown has no sexual polarity for other reasons that's beyond the scope of why this is not good, but fundamentally comes down to humor in a way that seeks validation. That's why it doesn't work. Going back to number one.
So why does it work? I mean, what does work?
What works is the balance, right?
Yeah.
You want to sprinkle in playfulness. So charisma fundamentally is sharing information about yourself in a way that's engaging.
Right.
So you could say it's entertaining education. What is education? Sharing something with you that you didn't know before. So if I say, hey, my name is Vidal, that's information you didn't have before if you've never met me.
Right.
And so any bit of information I'm sharing, back in the day, I used to be a dork. I'm not going to lie to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm sharing that information, what makes it entertaining, what makes it engaging the state of being I have as I'm sharing it. Not, okay, let me insert a joke at about 30 seconds in.
Right.
Right? You know, my coach said I'm supposed to insert a joke. Right?
Right.
And you cringe.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But the point is that, like, even in like, if somebody's watching this and they just observe that interaction, I was not going to say that joke with the thing of, oh, well, please react to me. If you look at people who have the highest level of mastery in terms of charisma, particularly sexual charisma, they're the most self-amused. They're the most self-amused. Right. They do not almost ever seek any reaction. Right. They're still conscious and cognizant of a higher level of thought, but they're all cognizant of the room they're in the sense that they don't want to have people have a bad time.
Right.
But it's not the suppression of self or the expression of self for the reactions that they'll get. They're not doing it for the applause or the pats on the back.
Right.
They're sharing the joy within them with everybody around them. And so they elevate a room rather than, you could say, decrease or sap the energy from, because they don't know who they are and they're seeking reactions.
So you kind of already answered why it works. I don't want to elaborate anymore.
No. What I would like to elaborate on is, real quick, very soon, I don't know when they're going to be seeing this video, but if you're still seeing this video, if you want to learn more about how to converse in a way that pulls people in and gives you the power to attract women in any situation, right? You're at the coffee shop, you want to have the power to go, okay, I want to meet that girl, I can do so. I feel comfortable and confident in doing so.
Right.
And it will go well. If you're at a bar, boom, 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 I know how to converse in a way that will magnetize her to me, and at the very least not make her go, oh, you're creepy, or you get ignored. Or you're in a situation where you're at church, you're at a business meeting. How do you converse in a way where people are just drawn to you and numbers are being slipped into your hand, if we're going to go old school way, right? When people used to write it on papers.
Right.
It's not what you think. I don't think most people think about it this way, but conversation, they say conversation rules a nation, right? On every level, whether the CEO of the biggest company you can think of, he does no labor. The only thing he uses daily is this. The richest man in the world is this. This and this. But this has no value until this comes in the picture.
Right.
They're master communicators. So they're master communicators. Right? Some are masters of charisma, some are just master communicators. Those are two different things.
Right.
But when it comes to women, there's a special kind of charisma you have to master. And that's called sexual charisma. You must have the ability to inspire, to trigger, more accurately, erotic resonance in a woman. That's what makes the difference between the guy who she's like, oh, I love talking to you, but you're just a friend to me, and the guy who she just met, that she wants to rip her clothes off. So, if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, join the pre-launch list. This, you don't have a lot of time. The first 10 guys, only the first 10 guys will be, actually the first 9, there've already been somebody who's gotten a slot already. Actually, maybe even less than that. But I think at minimum 9 by the time you're seeing this. So there are only 9 slots available. And if you want an opportunity to get to the place where you're no longer feeling romantically powerless, you're no longer feeling conversationally, socially powerless, you want to be in a place where at any time, you know you have the power to attract the type of women you want in your life, right? And you cannot do that. It will be impossible to do that until you find out what you're doing to repel them. And the place that your repulsion is occurring is likely in your conversation. And so if that's something you're interested in, click the link down below and we'll get right to it.
What is the 4th mistake men make when talking to women?
Let's say, this is interesting. I'd say number 4 would be posturing. Now, this is a little more visible, right? These are the guys who the subject matter they try to focus on are those things that make them seem impressive. So another seeking validation tactic or expression, right? So this would look like, yeah, man, you said, what's my name? Name, you know what rhymes with name? Doctor, because that's what I am, right? Right? I have a name
automatically in that conversation. I'm like,
right, yeah.
Okay,
I am a doctor, so surgeon, So posturing is the act of trying to have somebody hyper focus on a very specific thing about yourself and take their attention off something else, right? So if somebody's like, man, I really need you to know that I'm a doctor, he really wants his attention. Really wants your attention to be focused on what he does for a living,
right?
And the implications financially. So the question is, why? Why does he need your attention to go there? Why does he feel the need to direct it there in particular? Because he doesn't want you to see something else. Now the question is, what doesn't he want you to see?
Right.
Maybe the fact that he doesn't believe there's much to him outside of the fact that he has the money. So with the limited time that he has within this 3-minute window before you walk off or before you have to go to the restroom, let me throw in the fact that I'm a doctor real quick. Let me throw in the fact that I'm in the music industry real quick. Let me throw in the fact that, and whatever his point of leverage in his mind is, he will throw that out.
Right.
To act as a form of hook for a woman that he thinks he's undeserving of if she didn't know what lifestyle benefits. That's just one example. Guys will use posturing when it comes to, it's usually some kind of social thing that they think is impressive or will be impressive to the woman. Whereas, I'll just say this without realizing that the most important thing to her is how she feels in his presence.
Right. If
he wants long term, if he just wants sex, he's more or less just looking for covert prostitution, implied. Hey, I can do a lot for you if you can do certain things for me.
Right. So why doesn't that work?
That's a good question. Why doesn't that work? Why don't women just simply go, oh, you're a doctor? Well, gee willikers, that's all I need, right? Well, the thing about it is that instinctively, more fundamentally, is that throughout a woman's life, going back to the 2 ways people know anything about you, what you say and what you do.
Right.
Throughout a woman's life, the primary mode, if not the only mode of conversation that she uses to determine who she receives is the words of a man. So if you're growing up through life as an attractive woman and men are always trying to get you to be receptive to them,
right,
then you also learn very quickly that if words are the means men use to make me receptive, how do I know what words have weight?
Right.
Meaning, how do I know what's true? And so he thinks, oh, well, I am actually a doctor. But what the woman is actually scanning for is not whether a man's a doctor or not.
Right.
It's about the kind of man he is that allowed him to be a doctor. And so she's scanning for her own value system. Is he a leader? Is he somebody that's diligent, disciplined? Is he somebody that's fun? Whatever she cares about. Right. Whatever she cares about.
Right.
And so she may be somebody that, oh, he's a doctor? That's really important. He's a doctor? Don't care. Right. But he thinks all women care about that.
Him being a doctor, right?
And so he will force it into the conversation. And why that doesn't work is that it signals to the woman that he really needs for her to perceive him a certain way, for him to perceive himself in a certain way. It always comes back to the same thing. He needs her to go, whoa, gee willikers, that's impressive. Wow, I should just, where's your hotel? Right. Where's the hotel? Like, just give me the key. Like, what are we here talking about? You're clearly a doctor.
Right.
Like, why am I still, as you said, why am I not on my knees? Right. And so he thinks what he does, or the impressive social thing, triggers a woman sexually.
Yeah.
Not understanding, again, we talked about the two different worlds, the social and sexual world. And social triggers, what attracts a woman socially and what attracts a woman sexually, are two different realms, which is why guys get so confused about why women fuck guys that have nothing.
Right.
Because these sexual triggers are not the same as the social triggers.
Right.
So she will be with one man for his lifestyle and be with one man for attraction to him, even if he has nothing. So it doesn't work, and it will never work, because every declaration you try to make to control somebody's reaction is the evidence of your low self-estimate, your low self-esteem. Why do you need me to be impressed so badly? Because you're not impressed with yourself.
Right.
And why would a woman pick a man that's not impressed with himself if she can get a man that thinks he's the shit? Why would she choose him?
Yeah. So what works instead?
What works instead is to show her the truth.
Right.
The truth is not about acceptance. The truth is about alignment, which we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
So what a woman loves about a man, that, let's say a dude is, many of the things, let's say a dude has a pot belly. Let's say we have a guy conventionally, he's 5'7", he's a little chubby. He's average looking, or maybe for ugly, I don't know, depending on, I can't rate a man in that way. Average style.
Right.
Right. Whatever the thing is, right? And let's take a guy who is 6'2", in shape or handsome, whatever the thing is, right? Yeah. The external thing. But the difference between these two is that one thinks he's unimpressive. One thinks he's God's gift to earth. The 5'7" guy thinks he's God's gift to earth. 6'2" guy thinks he's unimpressive.
Right.
The 5'2" guy goes up to two beautiful women. He goes up. He says, "Excuse me, ladies, don't mean to interrupt your night. I just wanted to notify both of you that you're going to be mine in the next 10 minutes. Right. Now, dependent upon his level of groundedness within his words, you will be surprised what can happen. And I won't go too far into things. But because that conversation will go, they may laugh. They may go, "Oh my, look, you crazy. Oh, you're out of your mind. You think that, you have a pot belly," right? And again, this is in these moments where, I made a video saying, the title was, why a woman will test your strength before she receives your love, or gives you her love, something like that. And so if he goes, "Oh my goodness, dang girl, you didn't have to do me like that," right, and crumbles, right, which would mean that what he said and who he is don't match,
right,
and that's what she's checking for. Because every man comes with words. Every man could have had some liquor in him and said something that he heard someone else say.
Right.
But that's not, the weight of the words aren't on that. Your words are light. So he then responds, right? So she says, "Oh, you have a pot belly," right? And it's like, "That's how you know I'm healthy. You see, both of y'all, you need a healthy man. Yeah, you've been messing with those twig dudes. You need somebody healthy. You know the best sign of health?" Right. And he just slaps his stomach. And so anyway, what are your names? They will be dumbfounded. What would draw them? They'd be very curious about him. It's like, "Oh my, well, I don't want a 5'2" man, right?" She's like, "You're too short for me. It's not gonna work." It's like, see, that's how I know you never had anything good in life, right? Right. So, and then he proceeds to say some amazing thing about why short men are the shit.
Right.
right? So a man with true confidence, right? It's easy to be confident when you're 6'8" or 6'10", and society approves you, right? But a man like that, he's gonna crumble the moment the lightest little breeze goes against him. But what you got with a short king like myself, right? The beauty of a short king like myself is that this confidence is pure, right? This is all unadulterated confidence, baby.
Built from the ground up.
Ground up. You see how you made fun of my pot belly that you're in love with right now? And how you're mesmerized by the fact that you're taller than me in heels? Yeah. See this right there? I'm unfazed by this. And this is why in the next, it's been 4 minutes so far? In the next minute, because we're running out of time, the next minute, I said 5 minutes, right? In the next minute, both of y'all are going to be mine. And you're like, dang, who does this guy think he is? Now let's go grab a drink. And he puts both of them on it. You'll be surprised. What, and you can imagine that as a woman.
Yeah.
Right? What, did he get taller?
No.
Is he more handsomer? Is he stylier? No. He's the same dude, but he got more handsome because of his confidence.
Right.
But the confidence is more accurate to say it's internal sovereignty, right? It's the ability to not capitulate to the pressures of your environment. Yeah. Most guys' identity is built upon whether the environment approves of it or not. And then you have a rare few who their identity dictates the environment. Most people, the environment dictates their identity. Then you have the rare few, when they step in a room, their identity dictates the environment.
I know that's right.
That's what it means to be put pressure. It's not this thing of, oh, well, do you see this Gucci jacket I have on? Bro, you're nothing. You're a peon. No disrespect. Get your shit up. It can be done. But if your jacket makes you, then you're no bigger than your jacket. You're a small man.
Right.
Right? I make the jacket. Right. If the money makes you, you're smaller than the money. Right. And so you're always going to feel smaller than a man that has more money than you. Right. So you're going to shrivel up anytime you're in an environment where people may have more money than you.
Right.
But if you're the man that makes the money, then the money is beneath you. So a man stepping to you, a woman stepping to you that has more money, you celebrate that. Bravo. Right. But by no means does things outside of me define me. Right. Those are merely the reflections of the man that I am. So, because those things are volatile and fluctuate, then the man you are will be volatile and fluctuate depending upon the environmental changes.
Right.
And sometimes when you're breaking through to another level, you're going to have to leave behind all of who you were. And you're going to have to start from zero to take another step into a new identity. So when you're in that desert zone, if everything of who you are was based upon what you had and what was surrounding you, you're not going to survive to that next level. You're going to go back to the old world because that's comfortable. Right. Where you feel impressive. And everything about you will be, how can I get another reaction from those around me? So, again, this is high-level stuff that we're touching on right now. It's just a glimpse of what you can expect if you it's called Magnetic Charisma. Change the name. The link is in the description.
What is the fifth mistake men make when talking to women?
This is a good one. I'm going to close this out with their two objective focus. So they're more focused on the objective than the experience. Women, feminine beings, value the experience highly. What does the experience mean? It means the internal emotions they have while something is happening. Masculine beings are a lot less like that. They're focused on the point, the objective. Right. Less focused on the experience. So example would be, for a woman, going on a trip, she cares way more about the touch points of comfort all the way to the trip and all along the trip. Mm-hmm. Whereas a masculine being is more like, let's just get to the trip. Am I getting to the objective in the most efficient, quick, lack of hassle way? Right. Similarly, men can be more like, or masculine beings will be more like, why do I eat food? I eat food. Sure, sometimes it's great. It's cool if it's good, and but I need to put something in my stomach. Mm-hmm. Right. Is it getting me to the goal? Okay. Hungry. Or I eat as a means to an end so I can be healthy, so I can stay moving so that I can do this other thing. Mm-hmm. They don't really emphasize the experience, whereas feminine me, oh, what are we eating today? Oh, what's the flavor? They care more about the middle. Yeah. And less about the end. Right. This is why women sometimes can be confusing to men when they bring their problems to them if they're a guy in a relationship. And they're like, oh, this is happening. And he's trying to get her to the objective. Oh, she wants this fixed. Right. And so he's trying to fix it. But he's trying to fix it before she feels validated or heard or events. Mm-hmm. And so she's focused on the feeling understood more than the fixing of the problem. Right. So if I can change my emotions about the problem, then the problem doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Whereas men are like, no, I need to change the problem for my emotions to change. So the feminine being will focus on the feelings in relation to the problem. The masculine being will focus on the problem in relation to the feelings. And so when a guy is talking to a girl, sometimes he can be so objective focused on, what do I say? What do I do? What's the next step? How do I escalate? Put her on a conveyor belt to sex. Right? And forget to actually be present. It's like, oh, this is actually a woman that I'm attracted to, that I want to meet. Yeah. That I'm not even present for. I'm just worried about how I look, how I sound. Will it go to the next stage? Will we have sex? Right. Completely.
Not present.
Completely gone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, why doesn't that work?
Well, this is a different kind of why it doesn't work. It doesn't work for him. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work for him because the entire point of, if you hit every objective, let's say, you have sex with the most beautiful 1,000 women on planet Earth. Yeah. And you got that notch on your belt, so to speak. And you did that in a year, if that was possible. Mm-hmm. What would you be left with? Especially if you couldn't remember it. And so sometimes we can be so focused on the objective as men that we lose sight of the point of life, which is the experience and the memories. Mm-hmm. Right? If we achieved that and there was evidence of it, but I wiped your memory, you probably said, well, I don't want to do it if I can't have the memory. But the greatest memories come from the greatest moments. Mm. But you can't be having the greatest moment if you're only focused on the objective, not the experience. Right. So we can be so quick, and I fall prey and have fallen prey many times to this in different endeavors, where I just want to get to my goal so badly that I forget the day to day. Yeah. And so we can end the convo with the woman just trying to get the next laugh, trying to get the next thing, trying to get the number, then trying to get the date, then trying to get the sex. And you miss the whole woman within the pursuit of the pussy. And how many times in a row will you do that before? It's like, this isn't that enjoyable. Yeah. Like, who am I doing this for? Right. Who am I trying to impress? And it's always, the answer is always other men, because only other men are impressed by that. Well, the subsection of men. But the imagined man, right? And this is a phase I had to mature out of as well. Mm-hmm. Right? Many guys want, oh man, if I could just get the objective of getting this baddie or this hot girl or whatever to like me back, coming back to mistake number one, seeking validation. If I could get her to want me back, then I'll be more impressive to me. And I can say to my friends, look at the kind of girl that was receptive to me. That must mean I'm pretty special.
Right.
Like, look at the kind of girls who want me. I must be something, aren't I? But the only way a woman could make you something is if you don't think you're shit. You can share the man you are with her, but she doesn't make the man you are. And too many guys who are objective focused are looking for the woman to make them into a man.
Okay. So what works instead?
Focus on both objective and experience. As the man, you're still going to be leading, and so the objective matters.
Mm-hmm.
But the objective matters I'd prefer for things to go that way rather than I'm attached to it must going that way.
Right.
And so it's a detachment from the outcome, not an unawareness or a lack of an outcome. It's a detachment. And what that does is if I'm going to, let's say I'm going for a walk in the park and I'm like, okay, I want to do 20 miles. If I focus on the 20 miles only, I'll try to diminish the experience because at a certain point, I'm going to be tired, sweaty, and if I focus on too much on that state, I might not make it. Mm-hmm. So I'll detach. I'll go from the feminine to the masculine. I'll detach from my emotional experience and focus solely on the goal. And that will allow me to go further. It will allow me to expand further, which is the masculine principle. Mm-hmm. And in that expansion, then I can hit the objective. But there's a balance, especially when you're dealing with a relationship. If you're too focused on the objective, you're too attached to the objective, then you're going to come off robotic. And that roboticness and that desperation will repel the woman. Because women don't operate in that way when it comes to relationships. They're assessing each moment, their emotions and their experience.
Right.
And the objective just kind of comes when it comes. And she's like, I hope he leads us to where I want to go. But I don't want to be the one saying, oh, let's go to the room and let's do that. Like, women don't like feeling that way.
Yeah.
So she still wants you to lead it.
Right.
But she does not want you to be so focused on the next step that you're not here.
Right. That you're not present.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you need to be focused on both the experience and the objective.
And why does that work?
It works because for some reason human beings want to feel like they chose the route, particularly when it comes to relationships. If a woman came up to you and said, listen, no matter what you do, you're going to be sleeping with me tonight. Even if that was the most attractive woman in the world to him, if he knew that he didn't have a choice, it would decrease his desire to want to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's not that he doesn't want the same objective she does. He might just not want, and I use a man to a woman because obviously in the opposite situation it's more evident.
Right.
But we don't think about that even the man's desire for a woman he wants would decrease if he feels like it has to go this way. Oh yeah, the date we plan. So let's say she comes. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna pretend. So my objective is to have sex with you. So I'm going to come up to you and talk to you. And then after that, I'm going to tap you on the shoulder and say you're so funny so you can feel a little better about yourself. And then I'm going to say, like, oh, we should definitely hang out sometime soon so that I can get you to take my number down. Then I'm going to hit you up and invite you over. And then and she comes up to him and tells him this up front. His attraction to her would probably decrease. Mm-hmm. It's like... And then she said, why is your attraction to I don't know. And then she asked him the question, do you find me physically attractive enough to where you'd have had sex with me had I not told you that? Oh, yeah, I would have probably approached you if you hadn't told me that.
Right.
So it's like, oh, so what about me telling you all the things that I'm going to do to get us to the objective turns you off? And he'll probably say something like, it feels like you're manipulating me or trying to control me.
Mm.
You're trying to take my freedom away. I'm open to having the connection, but not at the cost of my freedom.
Right.
And so whenever we do these objective focus, lack of experience, emphasis, it makes it seem like you're just putting them on a conveyor belt and manipulating them to the outcome,
Right.
rather than actually having it organically unfold.
Okay.
Yeah. And those are the 5 biggest mistakes. So go over them again. Seeking validation is number 1. Being too serious, being too playful, posturing, or being phony, and then we have focusing too much on the objective and not enough on the experience. So if this was helpful to you, more to come. And as I said before, if it is still open, if you want to join the pre-launch list, only 9 slots left. It will be posted tomorrow. And if not, if the slots fill up, the slots fill up. But yeah, click the link down below if that's something that intrigues you. If not, then enjoy your day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.